Well, good Friday morning. I hope that you all had a good night's sleep. We have the weekend ahead of us. How many of you played the division and multiplication games on the link? Well, I've been playing them too, and if you get online and you play and you see one that says cool teacher, that's me. You can get on there and try to beat my time. Well, today we're talking about mixed numbers. And if you look at your book on page 243, at the top, I want you to read with me what a mixed number is. Ready? A mixed number is a number that combines a whole number and a fraction is a mixed number. Then below that it says the number 2 and 1/2 is greater than 2 but less than 3. So we're going to look here at this 2 and 1/2. This would just be, as of course, 2 and 1/2 is more. So if we had 3 pieces of pizza or 3 personal pan pizzas and you ate half of it, then half is gone. So you have 2 and 1/2. So a mixed number is simply combining whole numbers and fractions. So let's give it a try. Let's look at number 1a. And number 1a, I have a little fraction made here. These are divided into thirds, but 2 of them have all the pieces. When you have all the pieces, when you first get your pizza, if you order a pizza, usually a pizza is cut into 8 pieces. If no one has eaten any of those pieces, then they are whole pieces. Whole pizzas. So those are whole things. They can be cut, but if you don't eat any, then they're still whole. So once you take one out or eat it, then it's not whole anymore. So here we have 2 wholes, and then if you look at they're divided into thirds, and we have 2 thirds. So you should write for A, 2 and 2 over 3, because that's your fraction. So 2 is the whole number, and 2 thirds is your fraction. Go ahead and look at B. You see some squares divided into 4s. How many do we have there? Go ahead and work B, and I want to see if you get the same mixed number as I have. Okay, so we all see that we have 3 full squares. You could think of them as, there's a chocolate bar I love. It's called the Chunky, and it has nuts and raisins in it, and it's usually you divide in 4 big chunks. And when I see that, I think of that because it's actually in a square, and I love those. So we have 3 full ones, and then the last one has 1/4. So we read that mixed number as 3 and 1/4. Now, C and D, I want you to work on your own after you watch the video. Just like we would do on a review day when I have you circle these numbers to do at home to practice. That's what I want you to do. Now, move down to number 2. Number 2 says mark the circle under the mixed numbers. So you see, I'm going to pause it. Look at the first number. Read it. All right, let's say it together. 5 and 1/2. Is 5 and 1/2 a mixed number? Yes, it is. And I think that I could hear Farai saying yes. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it because I know Farai. I know he knows that. Let's look at 7. Jasmine, I think, is saying 7 is not a mixed number because it only has a whole number. A mixed number has to have a whole number and a fraction, and this only has a whole number. And as I look over here, and I think Jalen is probably saying 3/4, that's not even a whole pizza. So that is not a mixed number, so we're not coloring that in. And then 7/8, and I think that Leah is probably thinking 7/8 is almost a whole pizza, but remember, pizzas are usually cut into 8 pieces, so someone has come and already eaten a piece of pizza. So this is just part of a whole. It's not a full one. So 7/8 is also not a mixed number. Let's look at this number. Is this a mixed number? I think Aiden is saying it is a mixed number. Aiden is saying because it has 6 whole and 1/2 that is a mixed number. Now the rest of the row you're going to finish after the lesson. Let's go down to number 3. Fill in the blank with greater or less. Well, let's look at this. Is 6 greater or less than 6.5? Of course, we know that 6 is less. Because if we have 6 whole and then we have 6 and another half, this is higher, this is greater. So we're opening the mouth to the greatest and the point goes to the smallest. And I think Gabriel can tell me that answer. What is that, Gabriel? Okay, 3 and 5/6 is greater than 3 because this is just 3. But here we have another 5/6 of a pizza, or one of those great big cookie pizzas. I love those. Those are great, especially the chocolate chip. Those are amazing. Now, yesterday, Miss Nally taught us about reducing the fraction. And remember, so far, except for yesterday, we've been learning that they'll tell us divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, or divide by 5, or even divide by 6. So here, we're going to now decide what number, the numerator and denominator, which number or numbers will go into it, and then we're going to decide which one's the greatest. So here's one clue here. Both of these are even numbers. So if they're both even numbers, that tells us we can divide both of them by what? 2, right? So they both divide by 2, so 2 is 1, because you can say 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now, what else can we divide into 8 and into 20? Let's try 3. Can 3 go into 8? No, we can't have remainders in this, because when we're reducing to the lowest terms, we can't have remainders. So 3 doesn't go. What about 4? Can we divide 4 into 8? Let's try that. 4 goes into 8 2 times, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. So we actually can. Now, which one is the greatest? 2 or 4? Because our instructions say to circle the best choice, which is going to be the greatest. 4 is greater. Let's go down to 6/14. If you would like to figure it out before I tell you, just hit pause. Okay, here we are, 6/14. There's only one line. So here we know, just because they're giving us that hint, that there's only going to be one. Look at that. 6 and 14 are both what? Right, Isabella. They are both even numbers, so we can divide them by 2. Now, it's going to be easy to circle the best choice because we only have one choice. So 2 is what we're going to use there. Let's go to C. Now, I want to put C on the board because notice C has 3 different lines. That means there's 3 different numbers that is a factor of 6 and 30, which it means if we times it times that, we're going to get 6. So let's see. We are seeing that they're both what? Even numbers. Good job, Ruth. So they're both even, so the 2 will go into both of them. Now, we have 6 and 30. What else? Let's go to the next number and try 3. Will 3 go into 6? Yes, it will. 6 divided by 3 equals 2, correct? Okay, will 3 go into 30? 30 divided by 3 is 10, so 3 will work. Let's try 4. 6 divided by 4, no, that won't work because we're going to only go one time with 2 left over. You can't have any remainders when we're reducing to lowest terms. So we could say 5. Well, 5 will go into 30, but not 6. You still are going to have 1 left over. So let's go to the next one, which is 6. Will 6 divide by 6? Yes, it will, because 6 divided by 6 is 1. Will 6 go into 30? Yes, it will, because 30 divided by 6 is 5. Now, which one is the best choice? Remembering what Miss Nally taught us yesterday about using the greatest one, which one is the best choice? Thorn, you're right at 6. And I think a lot of you thought it too, but I just really felt like Thorn was the first one that thought that. All right, let's go to number 5. You're going to finish the rest of those after the lesson. Now, let's look at number 5. Notice that we have 8/20, and here we have 8/20. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, we have a 2 and a 4. That's exactly the same. Which one did we circle? we circled the 4. So you're going to say, okay, 4. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2. And 20 divided by 4 equals 5. Now, if you remember what Mrs. Quilty told us, you can check it by going back and saying 2 times 4 equals 8. And 5 times 4 equals 20. And you know that you're right. Look right here. We already did the B here for that. There was only one choice. So we're going to divide both of these by 2. What's the answer, Dylan? Divide both of those by 2. It is 3/4. I mean, not 3/4. I said it wrong. I know you didn't because you're really good at math. 3/7. If we keep going, if we do the C, and I'm going to go ahead and write C in there because we do have room for it. 6/30, we said divide by 6. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 6. Go ahead and work that. Anna Kate, what's the answer? I think I heard you say 1/5. Let's check and see if she's right. 1 times 6 equals 6. 5 times 6 equals 30, and that's right. You'll finish the rest of them after the lesson. Now let's go to 6B. It's actually on the top of the next page. I'm leaving A for you. A is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty easy. Just think about your process. But let's look at B. And B says, Oliver earns $4.50 per hour helping with yard work. If he works 3 hours every Saturday for 4 Saturdays, how much will he earn? Okay, so first we're finding out the fact. The fact is he's earning $4.50. Now, how many hours is he working? He's making $4.50 per hour. How many hours is he working? How many hours is he working? Okay, I heard 3. I think Josiah said 3, but I'm not for sure if it's Josiah P or Josiah E. I think you both said at the same time. Go ahead and multiply that. If you want to pause the video and then start it back up to get the answer, to see if you're right, that'll be fine. All right, let's multiply. 3 times 0 equals 3. 3 times 5 equals 15. Carry the 1, put the 5 underneath. 3 times 4 equals 12, and then plus 1 equals 13. Don't forget to bring down that decimal to divide your dollars and cents, and then write your dollar sign. Now, this is how much he's going to make in 3 hours on Saturday. The next step says he worked how many Saturdays did he work? He worked 4 Saturdays. So how much is he going to make for 4 Saturdays? Well, if he makes $13.50 on one Saturday, you're going to write that $13.50. That is how much he makes for one Saturday. So if he works 4 Saturdays, we're going to multiply that. Now, if you would like, pause it, go ahead and work it, and then we'll check it. All right, here we go. 4 times 0 equals 0. 4 times 5 equals 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 3 equals 12. Plus the 2 is 14. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus the 1 is 5. Now, we have to put the decimal point to divide the dollars and the cents and bring down the dollar sign. And here's your answer. The answer is how much does he earn in total? He earns $54 even if he works 3 hours a Saturday and 4 Saturdays. All right, now let's go down to 7A. We're going to divide and check. I'm going to have to write a little small because I have this pretty close together. So you look at your paper, look at mine also, go back and forth. The first thing we're going to do is follow our steps, which are divide, multiply, subtract, compare, and bring down. First, we'll start at 7. How many times will 7 go into 8? Yes, 1 time. Good job, Nathan. 1 times 7 equals 7. Now, subtract. 8 minus 7 equals 1. Compare. Is 1 less than 7? Yes, it is. So we're going to go ahead and do the next step and bring it down. Bring down the 4. Now we're going to start back up and repeat divide. So 7 goes into 14 how many times? Okay, I heard 2. I think it was Lydia that said 2, but she's so quiet it's hard to tell. So 2 times 7, now we're doing our times, equals 14. Write it down here. 14 minus 14 is 0, and I made a little tiny 0 because I'm running out of space. Compare. Is 0 less than 7? Yes, it is. So now what are we going to do? We're going to bring down. Pull that 9 right on down. Now we start over and divide again. How many times will 7 go into 9? Ooh, I think I heard Janessa very quickly on that one. 1 time. Good job, Janessa. So now let's multiply. 1 times 7 equals 7. Subtract. 9 minus 7 equals... I heard you, Kevin. I think you beat me before I even wrote it down. I mean, I heard you in my mind because I know you. Is 2 less than 7? That's our compare? Yes, it is. So what are we going to do? We're going to pull down that last digit. Whoops, and my board almost fell. It really didn't. It just leaned back. Now we're going to repeat the last process. Divide the last time. 7. Oops, that's not 7. That's 7. It's number 7. It's the same as there. Isn't that funny? 7 goes into 21 how many times? Yes. Good job, Scarlett. 3. Now let's multiply that. 3 times 7 equals 21. And I heard a bunch of you in my mind. It's just like everybody knows it. I know you all know that. Subtract, and there's none left over. Here is the answer. We're going to put our comma and then check. 1,213. You may pause it if you want to go ahead and check it and then come back. Times 7. All right, here we go. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 2 is 9. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus the carried 1 is 8. Put your comma in. And notice that they match. If they're not matching, then you didn't do it right. Now, I want you to see this one. We're going to do 8 together too, because 8 is tricky. We're going to have, notice this, 6 gallons plus 3 quarts plus 2 pints. So here we have gallons, quarts, and pints. So we have 3 different measures, 3 different types of container measurements, our liquid measures, gallon, quart, and pint. So which one are we going to do? This is the tricky thing. But what are we going to do? We're going to look at the answer. They want it in quarts. So we're going to rewrite the whole thing in quarts. So make your line and put quarts. Now, plus, this is already quarts, so we're just going to rewrite that because it's already in quarts. We don't need to change it. Plus, and then 12 is in pints. So we have to draw a line because we do have to change this one. Here's where we really have to think. This is a good one. Now, what I want you to do, especially those of you that like a math challenge, is I want you to pause the video and try to work it. And I'll wait patiently. Okay, welcome back. If you pause the video, let's get this working. All right, here we have gallon to quart. We have our 3 steps. And we have to think, is gallon larger to smaller, or is gallon smaller to larger? Okay, gallon is the biggest, right? So gallon goes down to quart, smaller. So what are we going to do? Greater to smaller, multiply. So we know we're going to multiply here. Write your S for your special number. Now, how many quarts does it take to get to 1 gallon? We know, because we've been drilling all of these measures, that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So our special number is 4. And I think also a good thing for you to remember to do is turn to the back cover of your math book and drill those measures. Drill those measures so you don't forget them, because we drill them in class and you need to still drill them. Now let's do it. What are we going to do? We're going to say 6 times 4. Boys, tell me what 6 times 4 is. 24. Now we're going to write it up here in the space. Now I'm going to slide my board over a little bit. Now we're going to go over here. This one doesn't need to be changed because it's already in quarts. Our answer's in quarts. We need to write that too because we have to rewrite the whole thing in quarts. So make your 1, 2, 3. Pint to quart. Is a pint greater to smaller? Is a pint greater than a quart, or is it smaller than a quart? Yes. A pint is smaller than a quart. So smaller to larger, we're going to divide. So let's put the divide sign. Special number here. So 1 quart equals how many pints? Or you can say blank pints equals 1 quart. Ladies, what's the answer on that? Yes, 2. So here we go. 12 times 2. And let's have all Mrs. Quilty students just say that right now. Ready? 24. Wow, look at this. They both have 24. Write it up here. And I'm going to pause for a minute because we're going to look at this and you need to add those together. Go ahead and add those together. Oh, mercy me, I made a big mistake. Look what I did. Who caught it? Did anybody catch it? I put a times, and guess what it says here? Divide. And you know that's the way it is in math. You have to check over your problems because everybody makes mistakes sometimes, even teachers. I know my students know that I make mistakes too. So I should have divided there. See, that's why sometimes you get it right and another time you get it wrong and you think, what? I know how to do those. It's a simple mistake. So we go back and check it. I thought for a minute, wow, they both have 24, that's odd. And then I noticed that I made a mistake because that said divide and I multiplied. So if you followed me, all of Mrs. Quilty's class would have said 24 and got it wrong, but that would be my fault. So let's let Miss Nallie's class all tell me what this is supposed to be. What's 12 divided by 2? It is 6. Now, add these up. You can go by adding the ones place. You can say 4 plus 3 is 7, and 7 plus 6 is 13, and put the 3 there and carry the 1, and 1 plus 2 is 3. That's horizontal addition. Make sure you write 33 in both bases. Now the rest of this page, just 1 on 9, I'll just go ahead and do 1 just to help you remember what we're supposed to do. When we have a fraction, 1/5 of 40 just means we're going to divide 40 by 5. 40 divided by 5 equals 8. Do the rest of them the same way. And have fun on the games. I may put some more up later, but just go keep playing those games. And if you see cool teacher and you're racing against me, let me know. Send me an email. Maybe you can beat my time. So have a good night. Have a rest of the day good. Enjoy the lessons, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.